welcome back to Minnesota Home and Garden. I am your host, Abby, and today is September 22nd, and it's the first day of fall. And I just want to apologize, we haven't done too many updates. We did the regular potatoes for you. We just have been really busy. We did some canning today. I'll post a quick picture. We did peach salsa, and we grew every single ingredient in our salsa except for the local honey that we use, so that's pretty exciting. And it is fall, but we've had really mild temperatures. It's been extremely mild at night, and that pleases me because that means my tomatoes are still going, and so are my squash. Now, we had really bad squash beetles early in the season, and you can kind of see a lot of the damage is done. And this is just the time of year where stuff starts to die off a little bit, and that's just to be expected. But we got a few extra babies on our pumpkins. And this is a blue Gerardol. It's one of my favorite pumpkins of all time. It's a wonderful heirloom. It's wonderful eating. It keeps very, very well if you cure it properly. I've had some blue Gerardol pumpkins keep as long as 2 years, which is pretty wild. It's pretty outstanding, so I really recommend this variety. And I'll kind of show you what we're talking about with the tomatoes, and I got my new little apron on that holds a bowl so we can kind of harvest at the same time. Our Juliet has just gone bonkers, and we're still harvesting so much here, and it's just nothing we can really complain about. There's just a lot to harvest. These are excellent. We've been making spaghetti sauce. Let's see, we've made salsa, and I think we're gonna make some more enchilada sauce. We're just making the most of the season. Over here is our pineapple heirloom. As you can see, we've got huge full-size pineapple heirlooms. And as long as we don't get a frost or a freeze, these will continue to ripen really, really nicely. Today is just a beautiful day. I think it's like a high of 70. It's sunny. Here's our really sad Kellogg's breakfast. And really, I only wanted to grow a minimum of one because I ran out of seeds. So I'm gonna hopefully try to seed save this year. These are two Berkeley tie-dye pinks. And if you want to just get your camera in there, it is just saturated all over with a ton of babies and full-size ones. And I see one that's just about ready here. Once you start seeing even the slightest of ripening, you can pull them off. Isn't that beautiful? These are so tasty and delicious, so it's just great to have tree ripened tomatoes end of September. As you remember, our trellis puts off a lot of fruit. Our green beans are pretty much all but done. We're just getting sparse beans here and there, which is totally fine. Got lots of our honeycomb cherry tomatoes to pick. Look at this. It's just fun to come out, and if you've never gardened before, I hope this inspires you, even if you're far in the north, that you can grow a huge garden, have great success, put up a lot of food, and it's just so fun to come in your own yard and harvest tomatoes, cucumbers, squash every day. It's just such a great feeling. These were all of our winter beans. We have quite a few varieties. I don't even remember all the varieties we grew, and these are completely dried on the vine. So you can just shell them and put them in storage. And then you're gonna see some that are full size and fully beaned out like this. If we got a bad frost, or if we were suspicious of a frost, we could harvest these, peel them open, shell them, and then just dry them in the oven. As long as they're full size and beanie like this, they're ready to come inside. A lot of people recently have asked me, what do I do for fall prep for next year? And to be honest, we never really do enough. We harvest what we can what we can, and before you know it, the snow's on the ground. Some things you can do in the winter, however, is prune your fruit trees. You don't want to do that in the summer. We had a bad storm come through and really damage our peach tree, so we did have to, unfortunately, cut that in the summer. As you can see over here, one of our wonderful contender peach trees. We did get some peaches despite all the squirrels. They're thieves, what can I say? They come in here, and as you can see, it's kind of leaning to the side. So our goal this winter will be to do some pruning so it's not so heavy on one side. And what we'll do is we have like a black tar product. You cover all your cuts. This reduces your fruit trees from being susceptible to viruses and other diseases, so they have a longer life. And as you can see, it keeps growing taller and bigger every year. It's a healthy tree. It's okay to prune it every winter. We've got a little bit of asparagus in this pot here. I pretty much all but gave up on asparagus, but this guy kept me going and made me a believer. We transplanted some chives over here, and we've got one last lonely still producing cucumber plant. And we made a lot of pickles already this year, so we've kind of been making cucumber lemon juice, and if you've never had that, I highly recommend it. It's a great way to use your end of season cucumbers. If you want to come over here, Absolutely nothing was planted over here. All of this stuff was either planted by squirrels or just came out of the compost. And if you want to come over here, I'll show you. Lucky us, I was so bummed this year. You gotta come down there. I forgot to plant butternut squash. Yeah, that just happens. It happens to the best of us. And I've got 2 giant butternut squash coming out of the compost bin. I just consider anything I get out of there as a nice little bonus. We've got 2 blueberry plants here. These were new this year. They need special fertilizer to keep the soil more acidic. And this winter we have to, you don't need to cover them special. These are cold hardy varieties. They're meant for the north. One is Superior and the other one is, do you remember? Superior, I'll think of it and I'll post it on the video. You need to cage these because if you don't, the bunnies will chew them down all winter long. And I can show you, these are caged now and they're kind of just inching along, but these were severely damaged in the wintertime by bunnies. So I'm hoping that after caging them and giving them some love, they'll come back. This is our beautiful honeycrisp tree. Actually produced a lot of apples this year. We tried bagging them to protect them from the squirrels. It didn't work. We really didn't get much. But if you want to follow me over here, we still are getting tomatillos. We're harvesting them almost daily. We grew purple and green giant tomatillos. That's how you make really good enchilada sauce, salsa verde, roasted on the grill. It is absolutely delicious. My sweet basil got kind of moldy, but my Thai basil and my lemon basil have kind of inched along. Some volunteer tomatillo plants. We've been trying to keep up on the weeds as much as we can. It's just really hard. We're busy canning this time of year. The sun goes down sooner. And as you can see, here's our beloved peach tree that unfortunately we had to cut in quite a few different places. We lost some pretty large branches here. So I don't know what that means for next year. And hopefully it inches along. We did cover it as best as we could. It's just what happens sometimes. Storms happen. We've got, this is our goji berry that we planted by seed. We got our seeds from Baker Creek. It was looking really good. Then the bunnies decided to nibble at it. We will definitely have to protect it this winter. I'm hoping to get goji berries next year. That'd be pretty exciting. These are 2 honeyberry bushes. They're pretty mature, but they were damaged by bunnies in the past. But this year they really bounced back. So we're hoping to have a harvest next year. Everybody this time of year usually deals with a little bit of blight, but you know what? These hardy varieties, I mean, look at all these San Marzanos. And if you have to bring them in because of a frost and ripen them in a window, don't worry about it. They'll ripen just fine. They're usually made for sauce anyway. And we've got quite a few to enjoy. This is our apricot tree. It is leaning to the side a little bit, so we should probably post it up better. Maybe we'll do that this winter, try to get it kind of staked up a little bit. But we would love to have this produce apricots maybe next year. This is an area where I've planted tomatillos in the past and I planted again this year. And as you can probably notice, got lots and lots of volunteers. And look how these beautiful bumblebees, they are so happy. They're coming and pollinating. And you know what? As long as the temperatures stay up, it'll keep producing. And there's so many wonderful recipes you can do that with. Here's another beautiful Juliet tomato. And as you can see, this is one tomato plant and it has just spewed out. It's producing tomatoes just everywhere. Hundreds of tomatoes. You could come out here almost daily and pick a full colander of tomatoes. They're delicious, they're juicy, they make excellent salsa. You can they're meaty enough where you can put them in spaghetti sauce. It's just such a good variety. On average, I can get 1,000 tomatoes per plant every year. So that's pretty great. And although there's some powdery mildew, which is to be expected in September, we wanted this to be the year of the pumpkin, and we've got 4 varieties in this garden. I'm pretty sure we lost one early on to squash beetles, but just check out this beauty. We use our home bucket lids to kind of prop them up so they don't rot. You have to turn pumpkins regularly or they kind of rot in the bottom if you leave them on the ground. But I decided to use these Home Depot buckets and then just push off the water on a regular basis. It's worked great. We harvested a few pumpkins. I can post a picture, and I kind of thought, you know, they were gonna just die off. They weren't looking so great, but then they put out a bunch of shoots. And if you want to look over here, look at all these extra pumpkins. These are Burpee Big Macs pumpkins. I don't think they're supposed to be this shape at all. And every single one of them starts out yellow. They get darker. They're this shape. We've got, and look at over here, honey. Look at that. I think that might be our biggest one. I thought it was going to be a different one over here. So I was kind of nervous with the shape that the fruit would be kind of like a spaghetti squash because of the shape. And we roasted one the other night, and I'm happy to tell you it's deep, thick flesh. It's very tasty. I think it'll make excellent pie, soup, bread. We're pretty excited. We've got so many out here, and I think one of our biggest ones is over here. You're probably wondering, when do you bring in your pumpkins? Well, truth of the matter is you can let them ripen inside if you need to take them off because you're worried about a hard freeze or anything like that, but you can also leave them out and let them cure outside completely. When you do cut them, you're going to want to cut them and give them as much of a little head as possible. Be gentle picking them up because they could be heavy and these could rip off. And put them in a nice sunny window area and let them cure for about 2 to 4 weeks if you can. And what happens is that squash will continue to ripen, and those starches will kind of turn to sugar, and you'll get a much better tasting, sweeter pumpkin. I think a lot of people that grow squash at home and are unpleased with the flavor or taste, they probably didn't cure it properly, and they maybe didn't let it ripen fully before eating it, and that can really change the flavor quite a bit. But also curing it properly means that you're going to have long winter storage. So if you give yourself a good portion of the vine, let it fully harden, let it fully cure upstairs before you bring it into your basement, they will last for a really long time. If you want to come over here, we harvested, as you saw, one of our potato bags. And because we still have healthy foliage, we've kind of let this bag go. And you know, potatoes are somewhat cold hardy, so you can let this go for kind of a while. I'm just kind of writing it out to see. And it helps you cure your potatoes a little bit to leave them in the ground longer. And we want winter storage. So this is what possibly our biggest Big Mac squash. Burpee, I don't know why your Big Mac squash turned out super long like this, but they are delicious and we are happy. You're probably wondering what all these beans are. These are an old cave bean that I got from Baker Creek. We will dry them outside as much as we can. We might have to cure them inside, but I did the Three Sisters garden over here with corn, beans, and squash. We did pumpkin, and I would say it was mostly a success. We definitely got a lot of pumpkin. We definitely got a lot of beans, but because of the heavy rain in the beginning of the season, the cool temperatures, the corn didn't grow super strong, and I think it kind of got crowded together and kind of pushed together by the beans. And then chipmunks saw it as a really good opportunity to come in and kind of be naughty, and they kind of went into the corn quite a bit. These are giant marigolds, and look at these bees. So everywhere you go, you can see how happy the bees are. If you come over here, and I know a lot of our perennials are very overgrown this year, but almost every single pumpkin vine put out new shoots. And look at this. I mean, this is the flat white pumpkin from Baker Creek right here. Look at that. That's pretty small. We've got a much bigger one over here. Want to take a look? They can get up to, I think, 14 pounds I read online. I can double check. And it grew all the way over here, and it produced another one underneath here in a perennial garden. We'll take it. They have deep orange flesh. They are very delicious. We've got another flat white over here growing. It's been really wonderful to see them continue to grow and to keep putting off such great food. If you look at this garden, you can see also that the peppers have really kind of had a nice growth spurt, and they put out a lot of peppers. And if the temperatures stay right, we will have another huge harvest of sweet peppers to put in the freezer, and that makes us really happy. I mean, it's what we really wanted this year, and that's pretty exciting to see that they're still going. This is Siberian kale, and last year, because we had a really mild winter, this grew until like February. This is an excellent kale for freezing, kale chips. You could dry it and make it into seasoning. It still tastes great, fresh. We just cooked some the other night. It was awesome. We cook it with a little bit of fresh garlic, a little bit of soy sauce. You could add ginger. Really, really tasty. This is our first time growing collard greens, and I would say it is a success. Look at these collard greens, and I heard that they get a little bit sweeter with the frost. So we're kind of looking forward to a frost. Harvesting these, we're gonna cut them up and put them in a freezer. And we're hopefully gonna make a lot of really delicious winter meals with this, add this to soup. We're pretty excited. This is Georgia collard greens from Baker Creek. We're pretty happy. So yeah, and if you live in the area, we're happy to share. Our mustard greens are still going strong and they still taste excellent. I just have these Baker Creek Old Tokyo mustard greens. They're gigantic, they're delicious. I can't believe they're still producing. We love it. We've got Swiss chards still going strong. Here is our celery, and the tip with celery is you do need a long season to grow it. We have excellent celery this year. You can see the stalks and tons of leaves. We've got 3 varieties in here. They're all really tasty for snacking. They have the best flavor. It's way better than anything you'll ever get at a grocery store. And these tops here, these leaves are super flavorful. Dry these, and these are an excellent seasoning or herb to put up. Add it to soup. You could add this to pickles, has a wonderful flavor for pickles. You name it. People like making celery salt with this as well. Very tasty. And you can keep the stalks in the fridge for quite a while. They stay fresh if you keep them in a container, but you also can freeze them for soup and winter use as well. We've cut in the corner back there, 1,000 head kale. That's obviously huge. It's growing into our garage. We've got winter beans growing here. We had some cucumbers. Those have pretty much died off. It's September. That's to be expected. Our peppers over here, look at that. How beautiful. They just put off a lot of new blossoms. We're very happy about that. And although it was a slow beginning this year, our eggplant are finally really taking off. This is, which one is this one again, honey? This is from Baker Creek as well. We love their eggplant. We love every variety we've grown from them. I think this is like a Puerto Rican variety. It's delicious. It makes excellent eggplant parmesan. We've made some baba ganoush and other dishes like that. And we're gonna try to make eggplant meatballs this winter as well. So that's pretty exciting. We've put up about 30 pints of spaghetti sauce so far, which is great for us. And look at this. Look, even though this vine looks super unhealthy and terrible, it's still shooting off and putting out fresh little pumpkins. And you can see there's nice sized pumpkins growing down here. And again, with these mild temperatures and sunny days, we could still get quite a few to harvest. Look at these tomatoes. Pretty slow this year, but can you believe it? Look at all of these offshoots. Look at this regrowth. I mean, we could have another huge harvest of tomatoes back here, which is pretty exciting. So our raspberry plants are out of control. I don't usually do much to cut them back. I think this has a lot to do with the rain. As you can see, our Frontenac grapes, if you want to get in a little bit closer, are huge. They're out of control. It's taken a little bit longer to ripen this year, but I did read that you can wait as late as October to harvest your Frontenac grapes in Minnesota. So I think we're just going to hold out until we have more time. Our driveway peppers are incredible. Our paprika, we've already smoked and dried paprika. If you want to take a look over here, it put off a ton of new growth after we did a big harvest. Those are tons of paprika, and they will turn bright red, like a lipstick red. It's actually quite a beautiful pepper. They actually ripen just fine inside. If you have to bring them inside, don't be afraid of that. And we've done, I think we smoked them. We put them in the smoker. Honey, do you remember how many hours you smoked them? 4 hours? Okay, 4 hours we smoked them. Then we put them in the dehydrator, and then we powdered them. And it is awesome. You will never have anything better tasting at a store, I can promise you that. So grow your own paprika. We got these seeds also from Baker Creek, and I just can't believe how productive they are. We get so much every year. This is aji mango. It's a pretty hot pepper, but it's really fruity and sweet. I'd say just slightly more spicy than maybe a serrano. It's a great flavor. Look how beautiful that pepper is. It's just, man, it's so beautiful. It's so wonderful to come out here and see this. We made kimchi this year, and we grew our own Korean hot peppers just for that. We actually had enough that we already harvested, so we're gonna dry this for next year We did 3 plants this year. It was way more than enough. We did a nice, almost 1 gallon's worth of kimchi. These are cayenne peppers. I'm just gonna let them dry outside as long as possible. We'll bring them in, we'll dry them up. You can also make hot sauce with them as well. Our serranos have been just going really strong this year, and they've been turning red very nicely. And I'm gonna probably make some really good pepper jellies and dry them and freeze them as well. Here are sweet potatoes, and this long season, we could not be happier because sweet potatoes need a long season. If you can give them 120 days, that is probably best. We're talking 100 days of warmth, not like the entire growing season, but like absolutely no frost, absolutely no freeze. So these warmer evening temps have been wonderful for this. You can kind of see with the foliage here, it looks great, it's healthy. We're just hoping underneath is a lot of sweet potatoes to harvest. And let's come around back here. After harvesting our onions and garlic, we did try replanting a few things. This is awful powdery mildew. We probably won't get much out of this at this point. Our jade green beans are still producing, and so we'll just harvest those as long as we can. Those are looking okay. And here, look at this foliage. If the foliage tells us anything, it tells us that this is going to be an incredible sweet potato harvest. The vines are going all the way through here. They went under the fence, they're growing on the patio. So I just hope that that means all this wonderful foliage in these straw bales means we're gonna have a record harvest of sweet potatoes. That's pretty much our only garden update for now. It's fall, it's time to start harvesting, cleaning up, getting excited for next year. I think I'll be doing a video as well pretty soon about just what varieties are new this year that we really liked and we'd probably do again. What are our staples so you can start buying your seeds and start planning for next year. I just hope this inspired you and you consider doing a garden next year if you've never started one before. And again, we're from Minnesota. Thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe and I can't wait to see you soon.